welcome to 5 Minutes, your fast track to smarter insurance technology and stronger leadership. In the next 5 minutes, we're going to show you a better way to lead, scale, and innovate without the chaos. Let's get into it. The speed with which technology is constantly evolving the industry, and it feels like it's accelerating more and more and more. Talk to me about whether or not you're seeing that same thing, and B, how does it show up for you and your clients?
Yeah, couldn't agree more. So we've been at this for 6 years now. We serve some of the largest third-party administrators and carriers in the world. But I would say that up until probably 2 years ago, when I think like the models were getting so darn good that people were like, wow, this stuff's going to be transformative. Then we started seeing both customers and prospects come to us and others to say, hey, how should we be thinking about this? What should be our strategy? And they were these collaborative conversations that we had just never seen the likes of it the previous 4 years that we've been working in the P&C space. And so for us, we're definitely seeing this acceleration of everyone wanting to understand what's everyone else doing? What should we be doing? How might you be able to help? How should we be thinking about partnering with other vendors, outside consultants, you name it? And so the pace at which that's happening is just like nothing I've ever seen in the 6 and change years that we've been doing it.
Sure.
And then in the same way, just the technology continues to evolve so fast. And so the output, the results that these things been able to deliver has just been like absolutely transformative. So I've never seen a more exciting time to be in insurance. It's really cool.
I hear that, and I share that enthusiasm. Talk to me a little bit about some of the challenges, though, that come with that speed.
Totally.
Because I know, been in the industry as long as I have, I know that turning the ship is not easy, and sometimes some of this adoption requires a pretty steep turn.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think you hear a lot of folks asking the questions of like, what should we be doing? And I think that like my past life was out of like a Lean Six Sigma master black belt. And so like this idea of process improvement, understanding the root cause of issues. I think when somebody comes to you with that question and it's like, well, we need to understand a lot more about your workflows, your processes. What are you trying to accomplish? And I think that technology is a great enabler of like process like improvement, but it's not one that's going to actually solve everything without the actual kind of like process improvement workflow kind of Lean Six Sigma type practices to be able to truly improve stuff. So I think we see that chicken and egg problem of like, hey, we want to be able to implement technology. It's like, great, what are we trying to solve? And is the process as good as we can get? And so now technology is an enabler. So that'd be one. And then the other one would be that it seems like everybody and their brother started in InsurTech in the last probably 3 years. And so it feels like the carriers and the TPAs that we get a chance to work with every day, it's got to be tough because you're constantly being bombarded with the same exact languages that everyone's probably using ChatGPT or Claude to write. And so it sounds identical and you look at the booths and a lot of look like the same. And so I think that's a challenge for every big carrier, TPA, and really even the smallest of ones that are trying to decide, who do I want to dance with? What does that look like? Where do we start?
Right. Yeah. And it's funny, the thing that you said, that first thing that you said, kind of, I think to some extent creates that differentiation that you're talking about, because you have an opportunity, especially with your background, to focus in on the business problem. And that's not something that I see a lot of folks doing now. I see a lot of the providers are focusing in on the solution. Hey, we this, and this, and then we can do this and we can do this. But all of that without even fully understanding the business problem. So in your space and in terms of the work that you do, and feel free to give us a little bit of a background of what that is, does that approach make its way into your engagement as a differentiator?
Yeah, no, absolutely. So I think the initial discovery process for one is one that if you would have talked to me probably 6 years ago, maybe we probably would have started with a demo, but now with, truly like the acceleration of where AI and agentic AI are going, we always start with a couple of discovery calls up front to really understand like what is the customer trying to solve for and where can technology potentially enable that. So like that'd be like point one. Point two would be like how we think about it, at least at Crosstie, is one of like, there's going to be a million point solutions out there. And like, you're going to have to try to figure out which one makes sense for you. What we've done is let basically customers devise our roadmap for us. And because we didn't come from insurance, we've been at this 6 years. We know enough to be dangerous now because we got kicked in the shins a lot. But like for us, it wasn't one that we had this grand vision of coming in and doing X, Y, Z. It was what are the problems that we're seeing, like true root cause problems, and how can we solve them? And that allowed us to be able to build 8 different solutions that could be used in a modular way. And so for us, every engagement to your question is one that's like, which solution makes sense at what point in time to be able to enable that process efficiency or that better customer experience, and whether the customer is a claimant customer's the policyholder. And so for us, it's not one that we're ever pushing. It's always we're letting the customer kind of pull us towards what are we trying to solve for, and then which solution makes sense, and then how do we sequence those appropriately.
Thank you for joining this episode of 5 Minutes. If you've enjoyed our discussion, we'd love for you to share with anyone else you think might find it interesting. Also, please subscribe on whatever podcast platform you're listening on and hit that bell to stay on top of the game with our practical 5-minute episodes. We look forward to seeing you again next week.